Hello and welcome to my new video. This is Destruction Derby 2 on the PlayStation 1. This was a huge improvement over the previous Destruction Derby game. First of all, there was much more variety in terms of the courses you could race on. Everything was bigged up, as it were. There was more interesting tracks, the design was better, the races were bigger, it was more challenging, certainly definitely more challenging than the first game, and overall just everything about this I much preferred. One of the things that used to annoy me a little bit with the first game was some of the courses were a bit too tight and a bit too small. And although it did make for some really great crashes and so on and so forth, it also proved to be a touch annoying as well. But Reflections went back to the drawing board and they completely overhauled the game. And this was the result of it. And I love it. I'm absolutely bloody hopeless at it. And one of the reasons is I get so used to playing games with the analog stick that when you go back to using the D-pad it feels completely wrong. You don't feel that you've got the same level of control over the car, so it takes a little while to get used to it. The basic idea of some of the races is to cause as much mayhem and destruction as possible. There are more straightforward races that you can have, but they're not as much fun, where you just have to finish first on the track. In these races it's important that you also create as much damage as possible to the other vehicles out there by spinning them, and the more that they spin as a result of your actions, the more points you score. So it makes it far more entertaining than just your simple straightforward racing game. You've also got to be careful as well, because your car sustains damage like it does in the first game, and if it sustains too much then your car will break down and it's game over. Now you can pit in and repair the damage, but you only really do that if you're a big wuss. It's far more fun to go blasting around the track and just hope to God that you make it through to the end. The graphics are absolutely fantastic, and even though it's a PlayStation 1 game and even though it's quite old, I still like the look and design of them today. As I said before, there's a lot of variety in the different tracks, and if there is one drawback of actually having more open race circuits like this, is sometimes it can be a bit of a monumental pain to score points, especially in the sort of wrecking races, which is one of the game modes. It can get quite frustrating, and the opposition cars are very difficult as well. They're not the easiest things in the world to defeat, and they like ramming you off the track and they like flipping you all over the place and so on and so forth. So there is room there for frustration, but they also smack into each other as well, and they also make mistakes too, so it kind of balances itself out. It's a game that has a tough learning curve, but once you do learn it, it becomes fantastically enjoyable. You can't go playing this game with a viewpoint to it being a serious racer, because it isn't. It's just an insane racing. Well, it is what it is. It's Destruction Derby. If you go out there trying to play this as a serious racer and get frustrated by the fact that you're being rammed all over the place, then you're missing the point really of what the game's all about. It is all about just bedlam and mayhem, and it's funny really that it was done so well on the PlayStation 1, but I don't really think this type of racing game has ever been captured quite as well since. I know there was another Destruction Derby in the series. Well, there might have been more, but this was the last Destruction Derby that I played. And so for me, it remained the best experience. I like this one. I mean, that is just typical of the game. Everybody goes rushing to the middle, up the little hill thing, and everybody just crashes. I mean, this is the Destruction Derby in the arena, and this really is literally, you're going to last a minute or so if you're lucky. It's just absolute carnage. You can develop tactics by going around the circuit in reverse and what have you, trying to preserve the front of your car, but in all honesty, you just delay the inevitable. I did manage to win one of these once, and I think it's because I spent most of my time running away from everything and just picking off the cars that had the white smoke coming out of the bonnets, because that's usually, they're on the cusp of death at that point. But I only ever managed to do that the once. Most of the time it's, as you see here, game over very, very quickly. But like I say, you know, it is what it is. It's just an enjoyable romp. This is one of the examples of what can happen if you get out in front in a race. Scoring points by hitting the other cars becomes exceptionally difficult, because you've really got to try and catch up to the cars that are at the back of the pack, and that is easier said than done. And that is the one major drawback with this game, is if you do find yourself in the lead, it's not always beneficial. It does become rather difficult to score points, and then you end up embroiled in God knows what that's happening, fisticuffs with the other drivers, and then you can lose your place. Not only can you not score a great deal of points, but then you can end up losing one of the top 3 places, which gives you points anyway. So that is probably the worst element of the game. But like I say, if you're going to play it as if you were trying to play a straightforward racing sim or straightforward racing game, this isn't the one for you. You've got to play it for what it is, and that is just an insane racing game. But it's really good, and it's well worth checking out. It's an old game now, but it's amazing just how few games of this type have ever bettered it. So it's well worth checking out. So that's Destruction Derby 2 on the PlayStation 1. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned to my channel for more videos coming soon.